That's entertainment. You know, when you're a great fighter, a great entertainer in general, you want the person to say, when do I see that person again? When's he gonna play again? When's he gonna fight again? You know, you gotta be able, if you can't put in the seats, you're gonna get fired. You know.
40 fight, and I have Crawford winning this fight. Crawford's gonna win this fight doing something that nobody's done to Canelo.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say. And it didn't take me going to camp to know this.
Okay.
Weight gain. So Israel Majimov says that if Terence Crawford bulks up, that's going to be the biggest mistake he can possibly make. And that's going to hinder him from being victorious against Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Mike Tyson gave his opinion after training with Terence Crawford, stressing the need to stay composed before the big fight with Canelo. He said fighters always deal with heavy pressure on this stage, but the toughest fight is in the mind. Tyson believes that if Terence can stay in control and not let the moment shake him, he will fight at his peak and make victory look far simpler.
You know, fighters, pressure, right? Pressure's not being hit. You know, everybody think pressure's like, get on, stand on. Pressure's the thought of being hit. And that's how they fall. The thought is going, I'm not hitting that hard, but they think I am.
Right. So
It's all psychological.
Are you, when you're walking to the ring, are you noticing anything, or are you so locked in?
I see everything moving. Every person, every girl, I see everything.
Dude, your walk-ins would last longer than the fights sometimes.
Do anyone have a napkin on my towels? Because I'm sweating like a pit with one hole up here.
You sweat.
We will get you one.
You sweat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're sweating like Charles Barkley at a spelling bee.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sweating pretty hard there too.
Exactly. So, Mike, we all know you hit hard. Who was the first person that when they hit you, you was like, oh, okay, this guy hits pretty hard?
Amir Khan, a veteran boxer who once faced Canelo Alvarez, recognizes how massive a fight between Canelo and Terence Crawford would be. He praises Canelo for his experience and skill, but also emphasizes Crawford's serious punching power. With Crawford moving up in weight and adjusting well to the division, Khan believes he looks stronger than ever. He explains that this won't be a one-sided fight because both men bring unique strengths to the ring. To Khan, it's more than just another matchup. It's a clash of two elite fighters, each capable of changing everything with a single shot. While he respects Canelo's dominance at higher weight classes, he warns that Crawford's ability to adapt and overcome new challenges makes the outcome very tough to call.
He did that to Canelo after, so to your point, can Crawford do the same? Coming up from 54 and 47, can he, or will that, throw off the catch and shoot? I was gonna catch and shoot,
We're not catching the shoot.
Make me think.
We're not catching the shoot.
We're catching it, resetting, and getting out of this range for a minute or two.
My fight with Arrow, I came back to the corner, and I had a look on my face, I guess. And my dad said, what's wrong? I said, nothing. Like, classic Sean, nothing. He said, Sean, tell me what's wrong. I said, my legs are kind of tight. He said, your legs kind of tight? He looked back, looked behind him. He would always do this and look back at the other corner. I don't know why. He looked back at them.
It was a habit, probably.
He said, all right, we're not going to use our legs so much this round. And I was thinking to myself, like, I need these legs.
I'm not trying to wear these shots.
Yeah, so, to your point, when there's a feeling,
when the nervous system goes out,
where does that adjustment take place? Do you trust the adjustment? Do you implement it? So that next round I did settle down a little more. I was
lost around.
Whatever. Hello.
I ain't know around here. Chill out.
He don't even know around here. Pour this water on you. So we got some time until this fight. So we ain't gotta pour it all out at one time. We'll work our way up to this one.
Try to get on big guests to lead up to the fight.
Expect some more very, very big guests, and expect some very, very big things from the Puerto Rico podcast the week of Crawford versus Canelo versus Crawford. Takes place here. What is that? September 6th?
13th. I was just gonna say, I've been critical of the fight because I felt like it serves as a foreground to the Ali Act stuff.
Analysts have been quick to raise concerns about Crawford's age and limited time at higher weight classes. By the time this fight could happen, he will be 38, and age in boxing affects speed, reflexes, and recovery, qualities that matter most against a relentless opponent like Canelo. Although Crawford moved up to 154 pounds to face Israil Madrimov, many still doubt whether one fight at that weight proves he's ready for someone as experienced as Canelo in the bigger divisions. Experts acknowledge that Crawford's skills remain sharp, but they question if his body can perform at the same level it once did. They view this matchup as the toughest challenge of his career, not only in terms of technique, but also physically and mentally, given the scale of the event and the opponent in front of him.
Successful September 13th, Las Vegas, Nevada, Allegiant Stadium, when he takes on another first ballot Hall of Famer, 4-division world champion, 2-time undisputed world champion, and reigning undisputed super middleweight world champion, Mexican superstar boxer Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is 63 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 wins by way of knockout. Terence Crawford had one fight at 154. That was against Israil Madrimov, the WBA junior middleweight world champion, right? And since then, Terence Crawford has moved up now to 168 to challenge Canelo Alvarez, okay? And so prior to that, he spent 5 years at what? Welterweight. So the concern that people have for Terence Crawford, rightfully so, is that Terence Crawford will be 38 years of age 2 weeks after the fight. So he's 37, okay? Terence Crawford has one fight at 154. Prior to that, Terence Crawford has been competing, okay, since 2018 for the last 7 years at 147. Since June of 2018, he's been fighting at 147. His only fight outside of that division in the last 5 to 6 years was his fight against Israil Madrimov at 154, which he won, unanimous decision. I thought he handily won, but people thought that he struggled. Israil Madrimov is now 10 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 7 wins by way of knockout because he lost his last fight to Mexican superstar, WBC junior middleweight interim champion, Virgil Ortiz Jr.
Crawford and his team have repeatedly stressed how focused their preparation has been. They point out that their plan is to avoid the mistakes Jermall Charlo made in his one-sided loss to Canelo. Crawford makes it clear that he is not Charlo, highlighting his own style, discipline, and ring IQ as key differences. His camp has been working on a strategy built around movement, accuracy, and smart pacing. They recognize that sheer power won't be enough to beat Canelo, so the goal is to frustrate him with defense and strike back with sharp counters. Training has been intense, with demanding conditioning and sparring sessions aimed at replicating Canelo's pressure and strength.
Team Crawford just revealed that they're currently working on making sure that the Omaha native doesn't end up like Jermall Charlo this coming September 13th when he faces Canelo Alvarez. Now this report comes from Boxing Scene, wherein it was just revealed by somebody from Crawford's camp that Terence Crawford is, quote, wary of repeating the mistake that former 154-pound champion Jermall Charlo made to a new weight limit without consideration of other factors. Boxing Scene further elaborated by saying that Crawford wants to retain his ability to fight with fluidity, maximizing the effectiveness of his power punches from both hands and ability to fight from a southpaw stance. With that said, Crawford's camp is now on full lockdown from the media or any sort of distraction up until fight week. Now, it's definitely worth considering that while it's
Experts and analysts have highlighted the risks that come with moving up in weight, noting that speed and agility often suffer as boxers get heavier. Terence Crawford has drawn attention recently after photos surfaced online showing him looking noticeably bulkier. Still, analysts warn that images can be misleading because of angles and lighting. The real concern lies elsewhere. At his age and with added size, can Crawford maintain the quickness that has always been his greatest weapon? Extra muscle may increase power, but it can also reduce stamina and limit flexibility.
That's simply human. I mean, the more you age and the more weight you gain, of course you're going to be slower. Now, that doesn't mean that he won't be an elite fighter anymore. No, of course not. When you talk about special fighters like Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, they can handle themselves against anyone on any given night in the worst circumstances possible. That is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get back into the discussion when it comes to Terence Crawford carrying the 168 division when it comes to the 168 pound weight. So if you actually think about it, Terence Crawford, how is the man looking right now? I know, yes, I know that we have seen the new pictures of Buck Crawford with him looking absolutely massive, but I actually talked about this in one of my previous videos, ladies and gentlemen, which you can go back and check out. Terence Crawford, don't let these pictures fool you, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let these pictures fool you. Yes, of course Terence Crawford gained weight, but the pictures make it seem like Terence Crawford looks like a heavyweight. Let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, the lighting and the pump and the angle, everything plays a part in how you look in pictures. You know what I mean? Like, this is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. I can show you 2 pictures of me taken within 24 hours, and in one picture, my physique looks completely different than the other picture. One picture I can take after having a unbelievable workout, with a nice sweat on, with a nice pump, with some nice lighting, and a nice angle. I would look completely different than when I look right now, or getting out of bed, which I just did.
Abel Sanchez, one of boxing's most respected trainers, has downplayed Crawford's chances against Canelo. He compared the matchup to a sparring session rather than a true contest, arguing that Crawford is simply too small to compete with Alvarez. Sanchez's view echoes a common belief that Canelo's natural size, power, and experience in bigger divisions give him a clear advantage. While he acknowledged Crawford's talent, Sanchez stressed that even great skill can't always overcome the physical realities of the sport.
Quote, "It will be a sparring session for Saul Canelo Alvarez." Coach Abel Sanchez dismissed Crawford's chance against Canelo, and it's really because of the weight gain. Renowned Mexican trainer Abel Sanchez has reignited the hype surrounding Canelo Crawford, scheduled September 13th, Las Vegas. Speaking to the ring, Gennady Golovkin, trainer, says, quote, "Crawford is a great fighter, but that's why weight divisions exist. Canelo has proven that when he moves up, he faces and beats the best in each category. Neither Bivol could hurt him, nor could my fighter in 2 fights." And he's talking about Golovkin. And even though Canelo and Golovkin fought 3 times, Abel did not train him for the 3rd fight. It was Jonathan Banks. So that's why he said in the 2 fights that he's familiar with, he's saying that Golovkin never really hurt Canelo. The weight jump, the big disadvantage. Crawford, undefeated record. He's 41-0, 31 knockouts. Agreed to move up to 168, blah, blah, blah. And he says, quote, "If Crawford had taken 3 or 4 years to gain strength and mass properly, he would have a better chance. But doing it in just over a year is too risky. He'll be slower and Canelo will dictate the pace." Now, this is a recent picture of Crawford, who definitely looks in shape. And, you know, that's what we come to expect from a guy like Crawford.
Chris Algieri offers a different take, pushing back against the hype surrounding this fight. While many fans and promoters are calling it one of the biggest matchups in boxing history, Algieri disagrees. He admits the fight is exciting, but argues it falls short of the all-time great clashes where both opponents were in their prime and evenly matched. In his view, the public may be exaggerating the drama, since Crawford is moving into new territory against a champion who has already proven himself in higher divisions.
I love it, because I have a lot of casuals who go to me and like, "Man, I can't wait for this fight. This is the best matchup that could be made." And I'm like, no, it's not. It's certainly not. Definitely not. Definitely not the best fight that can be made right now. I can think of a dozen fights that I would rather see, and a lot of them include Inoue against a bunch of different guys that I would rather see over this fight. But casual fans don't care that much about 122-pound guys who fight across the world in Japan. They care about big names and characters. But at the end of the day, when you look at this on paper, Crawford's 38, Canelo's 35. Neither looked very impressive in their last fight. They're still 3 weight classes apart. That has not changed, because, you know, and Crawford hasn't fought in a year plus. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of poo-pooing of this on paper. So I'm glad somebody says it. So thank
This
you.
guy, he
our
didn't say his
listener.
name. Yeah,
I
he
like
was-
this guy. He came out there and just said his piece and left.
That's the type of guy that definitely calls in the WFAN here in New York. It's like, we need Boone fired. The Yankees suck. I don't look forward to anything. But,
What's up with that bullpen?
Yeah,
All right, I'm out of
exactly.
here.
I'm out. I'll hang up and listen. But yes, like you said, there are a bunch of fights you'd rather see. There are a bunch of fights I'd rather see both these guys in rather than the one we're getting. Like I'd rather see.
That's a great way to put it too.
Yeah, Boots versus Crawford. I'd rather see Canelo versus Benavidez, Canelo versus Bivol, Canelo versus anyone at 168 of these top 5 there.
What about Virgil and Crawford? I like that fight. That got mentioned at one point.
Absolutely. I mean,
Great
but
fight.
this is how boxing works. We'll all be excited on September 13th because it is a big event. We've talked about this numerous times on the show. We need big events, at least 1 or 2 of them a year to stay relevant as a sport. It's on Netflix. We're all going to be excited that week heading into it. Maybe even that guy.
Hey, Dan and Chris. Love the show. This is Nero calling from Hollywood. I was wondering, with so many people taking Bud Crawford to win, I think at one point it felt like a hot take, and now it's becoming sort of a standard take. I hope this isn't too much of an abstract question, but can you think of another time where someone chose what seemed to be a hot take and then become the regular take? And what was the result of that fight? Personally, I think it's a bridge too far for Bud Crawford, and I think people are underestimating Canelo, but who knows?
Boxing analyst Showbiz The Adult points out the gap in the level of competition both fighters have faced. He argues that none of Crawford's past opponents could realistically stand up to the kind of fighters Canelo has battled. This underscores the difference in their resumes. Canelo has regularly taken on and often defeated champions across several divisions. Crawford, while still undefeated, has not faced the same caliber of threats. Critics have accused Canelo of avoiding the toughest possible matchups, suggesting he chooses opponents who are easier to beat. Supporters, however, push back on that idea, saying every fighter Canelo has faced was respected and accomplished, with many being champions themselves. Looking at their records side by side, Canelo clearly has had the tougher career path, consistently meeting elite-level opposition in multiple weight classes, whereas Crawford's flawless record lacks names of similar stature.
Name the fighters Crawford fought who would beat Triple G. That Spence that Crawford fought, that Kell Brook that Crawford fought, that Sean Porter that Crawford fought, would any of them beat Callum Smith at 168? I'm not sure how many fighters Crawford fought would beat the Miguel Cotto that Canelo fought. This is what I'm trying to say. When it comes to skill, experience has a lot to do with it. Case in point, you get an Austin Trout, you get a Caleb Plant, you get a Lara, you get a Floyd Mayweather, you get a Bivol. Just those 5, when it comes to experience, gives him the right experience that when he fights Crawford, he's not like, I don't know what this is like. There's not one fighter Crawford fought that would give him the experience against Canelo.
Reports and training footage show Crawford's intense commitment as he gears up for this challenge. His regimen includes strength work, heavy sparring, and conditioning drills designed to boost stamina. He has also been testing new training methods to prepare for the harder punches and longer exchanges expected against Canelo. Beyond physical preparation, his camp is focused on sharpening mental toughness, stressing the importance of discipline and composure. The core issue remains clear. Crawford must contend with Canelo's relentless style. While Crawford's defense and movement are excellent, Canelo has built his career on patiently waiting for the right openings. Against Errol Spence, Crawford dominated, but Spence lacked the size, power, and strategic patience that Canelo brings to the table.
And that usually breaks them down. So with some fighters, I see is that they think that Canelo is easy work because of the fact that he's flat-footed and he just kind of like, he does basic, I would say. He has basic skills, but he's really good at those basic fundamental skills. he does everything almost like perfect. But yeah, he's flat-footed, but you got to realize that he also has hell of a head movement and body movement. He understands, and he's perfected that rolling with the punch thing. He's been rolling with punches, like just to take off the steam off the...
Former world champion Kell Brook offers a clear explanation of why he favors Canelo in this fight. Brook respects Crawford's impressive win over Errol Spence, but stresses that Spence is not on Canelo's level. The Mexican star combines power, experience, and tactical control in a way Crawford has never faced before. Canelo has excelled in higher weight classes, repeatedly proving himself against bigger and stronger opponents. Brook believes that while Crawford's technical ability is world-class, it doesn't fully prepare him for Canelo's ring intelligence. He sees this matchup as perhaps the toughest of Crawford's career, since he has never faced such a complete fighter with so many advantages in size, strength, and strategy.
You've got to sway towards Canelo. Crawford's going to have to, move up. And, I knew when I boxed Golovkin, there's a big difference, especially with someone that, fighting a middleweight, a mediocre world champion's okay. But when you're fighting someone like, Canelo or Golovkin, it's a different kettle of fish, I have to lean towards Canelo, but, Crawford's very, very, very good.
Do you think Crawford's still got the legs? Obviously, he's very much got great IQ in the ring, but he's very much a good mover as well. Do you feel like he's still got the legs to be maybe out-moving Canelo if he needs to?
Well, I don't know. I think when we look back at Mayweather when he beat Canelo, he's a mover. Crawford's not really like Mayweather in that aspect. He's more. He kind of sets his feet. He's just. He's cute with how he approaches chucking shots and moving. You know what I mean? I think it's a different fight to Mayweather, and Canelo's obviously a different fighter from when he boxed Mayweather.
That's all for today's video. Stay connected, and we'll see you in the next one.